Hello, welcome back. So, feeding a family of four on a $100 budget is still possible in 2024. So, today I'm going to show you a plan that includes not only breakfast, lunch, dinner, but also includes some snacks and some sweet treats. We're going to use some very common ingredients. We are going to make some super simple and fast meals, and they're all kid friendly. So, let's dig in. Here is our overview this week. And I just want to mention that if your family is bigger than four, because this is really set up for two adults and two kids, you can easily adjust this. And this easily came out to under $100, but I'm going to show you how to get this even lower. Now, here is our total. We came out to $91.17 at the local super Walmart in Wausau, Wisconsin. And I probably pronounced that wrong, but here's the thing. Because we're using so many common ingredients, I want you to check your fridge, your pantry, your freezer, because odds are good you already have some of these items. The only things that I assume that you have is going to be whatever your favorite cooking oil is, whatever your favorite seasonings are. You may need a little bit of white sugar, but everything else is on this list. So you probably already have maybe cinnamon or brown sugar or some pasta or some flour. So that's easily going to get your total way less than this. And before I forget, I'm going to put a link in the description where you can go look at all of these slides as well as download or print your own PDF version of this, totally free. While you're on the website, go ahead and sign up for the weekly emails. We send them on Friday, and then you will get a link to the new menu every week because we do this every week. So let's get into the daily breakdown. Oops, I almost forgot to show you the visuals real quick. Now, because we did shop at Walmart, if you're not always shopping at Walmart, these may be some new items to you, but I just wanted to show you real quick. We're going to do 4 pounds of oranges this week, and depending on when you're doing this, you may want to check because this week it was navel oranges, but sometimes it might be cheaper to get like mandarin oranges. Just check at all the different varieties and look at the one that's going to be cheapest for you. For the crackers this week, we're just going to use some basic saltines. For the yellow rice, this is a family size 16-ounce bag. The reason why we're going to go with this one is because we are going to use this for multiple meals. We're going to do a 1 pound thing of breakfast sausage. You can get whatever flavor you like. We are going to use 1 pound of ground turkey. For the pork chops, it doesn't really matter the cut. If you like bone in or boneless, we really just need to make sure that we have 4. But honestly, if you find a pack that has 6 or 8, you can easily do that. Now, the big meat that we're going to use this week, and I'm going to show you how to do it all at once, is going to be a 10-pound bag of chicken leg quarters. Normally, I do this with 5 pounds, but I didn't see that being the best price option this week. So we're going to go big. We're going to go 10 pounds. So whether you use it all, that's up to you, but you can easily put those in the freezer and have them for later. We are going to need some hot sauce, and I'm not going to tell you what brand to buy because that's totally up to you. I just get whatever's cheapest. We're going to use some baking mix. We're also going to use some pasta this week, but it honestly does not matter the shape. For the hash browns, you can use the frozen or the refrigerated ones. The refrigerated ones did come out a little cheaper, so we chose that option. And then lastly, we're going to need 2 8-ounce packs of cream cheese. So double check your prices because sometimes it's better to get a 2-pack and sometimes it's better to get single, 2 separate boxes. So you got to always keep your eye on that. Okay, and we're going to get a 6-pack of bagels. You can get whatever flavor. My kids happen to like the cinnamon raisin, but do you? Now, day 1 typically at my house is going to be on a Sunday. So I'm going to have a little bit more time to prep ahead and get some stuff done. So we're going to start off breakfast super easy. We're going to do some bagels and some cream cheese with half a banana for every person. Now, if you haven't seen my videos before, my kids are still small. They are almost 5 and 7. And some days they'll eat a whole banana, no problem. Other days, they're only going to eat about half. So what we do is we start out with half a banana. If they want more, we can always get more. But I don't give kids a whole banana because once they start eating it, I can't save it. It's pretty much going in the trash at that point. Now, for this, I would typically just give each kid half of a bagel. And like I said, if they want more, we can do more. For lunch, we're going to do some egg salad with crackers. Super simple. You can also add in, we're going to have celery and carrots this week. So you could obviously add that. You could add some fruit. Now, for egg salad, if you don't already have mayonnaise, we are going to get some ranch dressing. And I find that if you make egg salad with ranch dressing, you don't have to add a lot of seasoning in there. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 there. For dinner, here's where it gets exciting. We're going to do roasted chicken leg quarters, which is just kind of a fancy term for we're just going to bake it in the oven until it's done. Now, how I do this is I sprinkle them with some olive oil. Like I get a big bowl, put them in there, sprinkle them with some olive oil or some veggie oil, and then I add my seasonings. Now, since we're going to use this a lot this week, I would just go simple. I would go like salt, pepper, garlic salt, onion powder, that kind of thing. Then we're going to put them on a baking sheet. And honestly, I usually end up doing 2 baking sheets, and then I put them in the oven, and we're going to bake those. It's in a 350-degree oven. It usually takes about 45 minutes, but you can always kind of use a knife and cut it and double check on the inside, or use a meat thermometer, but just make sure your chicken is fully cooked. Now, for dinner on the first night, we're going to have chicken on the bone. But after that, we're going to take all the meat off of the bones. We're going to save the bones, and we'll get into that in a minute, but we're just going to go ahead and pre-shred. And honestly, I find it easier to do when it's still like room temperature or warm, because once you put it in the fridge and it's cold, it just doesn't like shred as nice for me. We're going to do a very simple mushroom pasta to go with this and some canned green beans. So let's go on to the next day. Whew. For day 2, we're going to do a breakfast casserole with some orange slices. Now, this breakfast casserole, you can easily kind of switch out all the different ingredients, but it does make a lot, and it's actually very filling because it's not just eggs, it's also breakfast sausage and hash browns. And it has a little bit of that baking mix in there, so it's very filling. So I do like a lasagna pan, and honestly, you don't want necessarily like the biggest slice because it is really filling. So keep that in mind. This is one of those that you can easily make the night before and then heat up in the morning. So just depending on your schedule, figure out how you want to do that. For lunch, this is one of my absolute favorite lunches. It's a buffalo chicken dip. You've probably seen this like a Super Bowl party or, just like an appetizer. But honestly, it's really good for lunch. We serve it with some carrots and some celery, and my kids even like the saltine crackers in there. We don't add a whole lot of hot sauce for the kids. So what we do is we kind of separate it into 2 different batches to where we have a very mild version for the kids and then kind of a spicier version for the adults. And we usually add some pickled jalapenos in there, so that's an option. For dinner tonight, we're going to do a pineapple brown sugar pork chop. This is super easy. It goes in the oven. Now, the kicker here is you will need the juice from a can of pineapple. We're not going to use the pineapple right now, but we are going to use the juice. So just go ahead and drain your juice and then put the rest of it in a plastic container and put it up. And then we are going to use any leftover broccoli from tonight for another meal. So after you serve everybody broccoli, go ahead and put that in a pack, in like a Tupperware, and put it in your fridge because we're going to need that for later. For day 3, we are going to have that breakfast casserole just reheated. And as you can see, we're going to have pineapple with it this morning. We're going to do some dinner leftovers. And then for dinner, we're going to have chicken fajitas with yellow rice and refried beans. Now, the great thing about this is we're already going to have chicken that's already cooked and shredded. So really all we have to do is make rice and beans. And honestly, the beans are super easy. Now, I will say that we are going to go ahead and saute up 2 bell peppers and a full onion. We're going to cut them in nice slices. But before we serve this for dinner, we're going to take like a quarter of the onions and the peppers, and we're going to kind of set them aside because we're going to use those later. One of the best ways that I've found to save money is to repurpose ingredients. And going along with that, when you pre-cook things, it makes it so much quicker the next day. So now, I put this here, but you don't necessarily have to do it on day 3. You could do it whenever. But we're going to make cinnamon donut holes. My kids absolutely go nuts for this. They love making them. They love eating them. And honestly, this is one of those that it makes a ton. And I just store them in a plastic bag, and then we can have, 2 to 3 every night each. So this is one of those you could easily have multiple nights, and it's a great snack too. For day 4, for breakfast, we're going to have scrambled egg and veggie wraps. Okay, so we're going to take those peppers and onions. We're just going to rough chop them. You can add them into the scrambled eggs, or you can keep them separate. We're going to roll them up in tortillas, and then we'll have another half a banana. For lunch, we're going to take that yellow rice and the refried beans, and we're just going to make some easy burritos. Now, if you do end up cooking the full 10 pounds of chicken quarters, you very easily could have some shredded chickens. You could add that. If you only end up doing 5 pounds, then you would just kind of do this more vegetarian style. For dinner, we are going to do some cheesy ground turkey potato boats. This is very similar to a twice baked potato, but we're going to add meat into it as well. We're also going to do some sauteed cabbage. Now, I love cabbage, so it's very easy for us to eat a whole head of cabbage. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook the whole thing up, because we have a way that we're going to use up any leftovers. So even though a whole head of cabbage is a lot, and you may notice a ton of it, it's definitely going to get used up, and we're not going to waste it. For day 5, for breakfast, we're going to do some hard-boiled eggs, some toast, and some orange slices. You can easily make these hard-boiled eggs ahead of time. So then on this morning, you are literally just throwing bread in a toaster. How simple can that get? We're going to have some dinner leftovers. And then for dinner, we're going to do a cheesy chicken broccoli pasta with a side salad. Now, we're going to use that pre-cooked shredded chicken. We're going to use our leftover broccoli, and we're going to use half a box of pasta. And honestly, the shape totally doesn't matter. I probably wouldn't do this with spaghetti noodles, but honestly, you could. And then I'm going to show you in this slide, basically, we are going to make our own cream of chicken soup. This is really important because this is something that you don't have to buy. It's very easy to make. Now, at the bottom here, I'm going to show you how to make homemade chicken broth. You can do this on the stove, or you can do it on the crock pot. Honestly, if I'm already going to be home that day, it's just easier to put it in the crock pot and let it sit. But we're going to take all of our veggie scraps. This could be, the top of the celery where all the leaves are, the bottom of the celery, all those onion skins. If you're peeling carrots, you save all those carrots, because even though those aren't the parts that you would want to necessarily eat, they do have a lot of flavor. And this is what's going to add flavor to your chicken broth. So we're going to put all that with the bones in either the crock pot or like a giant soup pot. And we're just going to let that boil and simmer for about 2 to 3 hours. And then we're going to let that cool for a little bit. We're going to strain out all of the vegetable pieces, because at that point we've sucked all the flavor out of them, and then those can go away. And all you have left is this amazing amount of chicken broth. Now we're going to use some of that for the dinner, and we're going to use it for another dinner, and it's a good amount. And what I usually do is I put it in the fridge, and then after this week, like on Saturday, any chicken broth that I have left over, I will put in ice cube trays and then put it in the freezer, so that way I have chicken broth for next week or the following weeks. Super simple. So right there, we just figured out how to stop buying cream of chicken and how to stop buying chicken broth. Super simple, huge grocery budget helpers. Okay, here's another easy breakfast. We're just going to do bagels and cream cheese with half a banana. We're going to do egg salad again with crackers. Now, you could easily make one large batch of egg salad, or you could break this up and do it twice. Totally up to you and what time you have available. Now, I always like to end the week with the ultimate leftover killer, okay? Not killer in a bad way. Killer is in like, let's use everything up. Now, for me, Fridays and Saturdays, I am trying to get my refrigerator as clean as possible, so that way when the new week starts, it's all clean. I can put the the fresh groceries in there and start all over. So I don't want a whole bunch of leftovers hanging out. So we're going to take half of the ground turkey that we already cooked the night before. It already has onions in it. We're going to take all of our leftover celery and carrots. We're going to take some of that homemade chicken broth. We should have a couple potatoes still left over. And then any of the leftover veggies from the week. This could be diced tomatoes. We're probably going to have some leftover cabbage. Even if you have things like green beans, totally throw that in. We're going to make a turkey and veggie soup. And then we're just going to have some simple grilled cheese sandwiches to go with it. And I know it's getting warmer, but honestly, it's not too hot yet. And this is just really good if like your Friday is rainy. So you might want to switch this around, but it's definitely an end of the week kind of dish. Now remember, I have just given you some options on how you can do this. You can totally switch it around depending on your schedule and how your family works. So hopefully you've picked up some ideas. You can see that it's totally possible to feed a whole family of 4 for an entire week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you need some more help or you want to look at some more meal plan options, go to our website. We've got about, I think, 22 weeks now of different meal plans. Some of them are the $60 a week for dinners or the $100 for all the meals. Then you can also head over to our Facebook, which you just search Lodo Family, and we have lots of content there to help and inspire you. You can also join our Facebook group. So if you have questions about your meal plan, if you're stuck with meal planning, or if you just want to see other people like you's meal plan, please come join there. So I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you later. Bye.